Warmest greetings to all my incredible subscribers and new viewers alike. Hello, fellow enthusiasts. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of West Hartford, Connecticut. West Hartford is a town in Hartford County, Connecticut, United States, 5 miles west of downtown Hartford. The town is part of the Capital Planning Region. The population was 64,083 at the 2020 census. The town's popular downtown area is colloquially known as West Hartford Center, or simply the Center, and is centered on Farmington Avenue and southernmost Main Street. West Hartford Center has been the community's main commercial hub since the late 17th century. Incorporated as a town in 1854, West Hartford was previously a parish of Hartford, founded in 1672. Among the southernmost of the communities in the Hartford-Springfield Knowledge Corridor metropolitan region, West Hartford is home to University of Hartford and the University of St. Joseph. West Hartford is home to regular events which draw large crowds from neighboring towns, including the Elizabeth Park Concert Series and the annual Celebrate West Hartford event, which includes fairground rides, food vendors, musical performances, and stalls by local businesses. Now, let's delve into the intricacies of history and explore its various aspects. According to archaeological evidence, the Wampanoag people used West Hartford as one of their winter camps. Fishing and hunting along the Connecticut River, the area of West Hartford offered the Wampanoag people a refuge from the cold winter wind and the river's severe spring flooding. In 1636, Reverend Thomas Hooker led a group of followers from what is now Cambridge, Massachusetts, to the Great River and established Hartford, Connecticut and the Connecticut colony. As the colony grew, additional land was needed. In 1672, the proprietors of Hartford ordered that a division be created to the west. A total of 72 long lots were laid out between today's Quaker Lane in the east and Mountain Road in the west. The northern boundary was Bloomfield, and the southern, present-day New Britain Avenue. The western boundary was extended in 1830 to include part of Farmington. In the ERS, the area was referred to as the West Division of Hartford. This remained the official name until 1806, when Connecticut General Assembly started referring to it as the Society of West Hartford. It is believed that the first homesteader to West Hartford was Stephen Hosmer, whose father was in Hooker's first group of Hartford settlers and who later owned 300 acres just north of the present-day center. In 1679, Stephen Hosmer's father set him to establish a sawmill on the property. Young Hosmer would eventually go back to live in Hartford, but in his 1693 estate inventory, 310 acres in West Hartford along with a house and a sawmill are listed. For nearly a century the property would be handed down throughout the family. Evidence still remains of the town's first industry, as Stephen Hosmer's mill pond and dam can still be found today on the westernmost side of North Main Street. By the time of the American Revolution, the once rugged wilderness had been largely clear and a new agricultural-based community had developed with a population of just over 1,000 residents and 3,000 sheep. At its core was the parish meeting house. The first congregational meeting house was built around 1712. Now in its 5th building, the church stands proudly at what is now the southeast corner of Main Street and Farmington Avenue. As the focus of early religious, political, and social life, the meeting house helped to provide this area with a name, a title that it still holds today. Center. Evidence in the Hartford Courant and in the ERS census show that some of the more prosperous households relied on laborers and slaves for fieldwork and domestic help. The Sarah Whitman Hooker House was one such residence and still stands on New Britain Avenue. Evidence shows that the Hookers owned several slaves. One such slave, Bristow, bought his freedom from Thomas Hart Hooker in April 1775 as Hooker set off to fight in the Revolutionary War. Bristow continued to live with the family after Thomas Hart Hooker was killed in the war. Bristow became an agricultural expert and left his property to the Hookers' 2 children when he died. He is the only known African American to be buried in West Hartford's Old Center Burial Yard. West Hartford's Bristow Middle School is named in his honor. Now, we shift our focus to coming of industry, a topic that deserves our attention. One of the first major industries to arise centered on the pottery and brick works. Extending from Hartford to Berlin is a sizable deposit of fine clay. In 1770, Ebenezer Faxon came from Massachusetts and settled in what would become the Elmwood section of West Hartford. There he established a pottery on South Road, what is today New Britain Avenue, which took advantage of the local geological landscape. It was Seth Goodwin, however, who helped to establish a pottery dynasty. Goodwin started his pottery works around 1798. For over 100 years, the Goodwin name would be associated with West Hartford pottery, producing utilitarian items such as jugs for the gin manufactured in local distilleries to terracotta designs and fine china. The Goodwin Company employed up to 75 people in its heyday. The Goodwin Brothers Pottery Company, as it came to be known, burned for the third time in 1908 and never recovered. In 1879, Edwin Arnold established the Trout Brook Ice and Feed Company. Ice from Trout Brook, a stream that runs through the middle of West Hartford, was harvested in the winter, sawn into blocks, and placed into a series of ice houses through an escalator system. Insulated in sawdust, the blocks of ice were used as refrigeration locally and shipped as far away as New York City. By the late 19th century, the New York, New Haven and Hartford Railroad ran through part of Elmwood in the southeast corner of town. A variety of companies cropped up in this area, including Whitlock Coil Pipe Company in 1891, and later Royal Typewriter, Wiremold, Abbott Ball, Colts Manufacturing and Uncle Bill's Silver Grippers, producer of tweezers. The largest of West Hartford manufacturers was Pratt & Whitney, now Pratt & Whitney Measurement Systems, which later lent its name to Pratt & Whitney, the aerospace corporation headquartered in East Hartford. In 1940 it built a plant on 20-acre, and at the height of World War I it employed over 7,000 people. It would stand until 1991, when Pratt & Whitney Measurement Systems was acquired and operations were relocated to Plainville. Without further ado, let's move on to the topic of a new town. In 1792, a committee of residents was appointed to ask permission from Hartford to secede, and were denied. 5 years later they petitioned again and again were denied. In the spring of 1854, the Connecticut General Assembly was meeting in New Haven, co-capital with Hartford at the time. Most likely taking advantage of the distance from Hartford, a petition dated March 21 was delivered to the General Assembly by delegates from West Hartford. Signed by 153 residents, the petition claimed that residences were subjected to many inconveniences on account of their present connection with the town and city of Hartford, and that their convenience and prosperity would be essentially promoted by being set off as a separate town. On April 26, about 100 residents from West Hartford presented their own case against secession. After review and an opportunity for Hartford to make an argument for keeping West Hartford, the General Assembly voted on May 3 for West Hartford's independence. The 1854 vote was not, however, the end of the debate. In 1895, wealthy residents from the east side of West Hartford petitioned Hartford for annexation. Their call was rebuffed by other West Hartford residents. Then in 1923 and 1924, Hartford wanted to annex West Hartford back so that it could achieve a Greater Hartford plan. Town residents rallied in opposition, and the plan was defeated by a vote of 2,100 to 6,137. Turning our focus to emergence as a streetcar suburb, let's explore its key elements. It is transportation that has had the biggest impact on West Hartford and its evolution from CP crossroads to modern suburb. In the late 18th and early 19th century, 3 turnpikes ran through West Hartford. Round these roads, taverns, blacksmith and wheelwright shops, general stores and many other places of businesses sprang up. Early maps provide a sense of how important these byways were in the development of commerce and industry. Then came the trolleys starting in 1845. Fred Brace began running a horse-drawn omnibus from his home on the corner of Farmington Avenue and Dale Street into downtown Hartford. Even more significant were the horse-drawn trolley lines and later electric trolleys that in 1889 began to weave their way from the inner city of Hartford to the countryside of West Hartford. Trolley lines opened up land that had been inaccessible to many, and made it possible for professionals and their families to settle along Prospect Avenue, then north of Farmington Avenue. By the years, Hartford began to experience an economic boom. As such, Hartford's business leaders began building their mansions along Prospect Avenue. Prospect Hill, situated on a 1-mile ridge boasting impressive views of the burgeoning city, became the area's most prestigious address. Homes are characteristic of the architectural styles popular in that period are represented, particularly late 19th and 20th century revivals. Many homes in the area on the National Register of Historic Places, including the Connecticut Governor's Residence, built in 1908. Prospect Avenue is adjacent to Elizabeth Park, designed by acclaimed landscape architect Frederick Law Olmsted in 1896 and named for the wife of Charles M. Pond, who bequeathed the land to the city of Hartford. In 1900, the Hartford Golf Club opened its links on the other side of Asylum Avenue just west of Prospect Avenue, adding to the area's ideal suburban sensibility. In 1895, Wood, Harmon and Company created one of the town's first subdivisions on property known as Stanley Farm, a tract sloping upward from the trolley line that then ran along Farmington Avenue, across from Reservoir No. 1. Called Buena Vista, it was promoted at Hartford's new and handsome suburb. Their literature highlighted splendid suburban electric car service and proximity to Reservoir No. 1. Other developments followed, including Elmhurst in Elmwood 1901 and Sunset Farm 1917. One of the most exclusive of these early developments was West Hill. Located on the former estate of Cornelius Vanderbilt, son of the famous financier and transportation magnate, it was the brainchild of Horace A. Grant. Designed by some of Hartford's best architects in the years, West Hill is significant historically because it is an excellent example of a planned real estate development of the early years that proceeded under specific design restrictions to achieve outstanding success as a well-crafted and prestigious neighborhood. The architecture is characteristic of the Colonial Revival and Tudor Revival styles popular in the period. It was declared a National Historic District in 1996. In this section, we'll be shedding light on the automobile and its impact on our understanding of the subject. By the years and years, the impact of the automobile was felt in West Hartford as the town became more accessible to Hartford's middle and working class citizens. Between 1910 and 1930, the population of West Hartford grew from 4,808 to 24,941 residents. Then, with the end of the Great Depression, World War II, and the exodus from urban centers, West Hartford witnessed a tremendous influx of people as its population swelled from 33,776 in 1940 to 62,382 people by 1960. This era ushered in major housing developments and retail spaces throughout the community. In the years, the primary avenue Shulmany, Asylum and Farmington became important arteries for commuters, and the access made West Hartford attractive to middle-class families. During the decade, the town built one new elementary school each year to accommodate the growing population. In the years, construction began on Interstate 84, completed in 1969. The interstate had many ramifications on the community. The most visible was that it bisected the town, isolating the more industrial and ethnically diverse neighborhood of Elmwood with a physical barrier from the rest of West Hartford. Furthermore, the interstate allowed for increased accessibility as the population increased with the baby boom and development, and recalibrated the traditional retail sites. Subsequent residential development continued on through the late years, particularly in the town's northern, western and far southwestern fringes, as evidenced by the many large colonial, ranch, and split-level style homes in these areas. In 1971, the Bishop's Corner development was inaugurated, housing tenants such as Lord and Taylor, F.W. Woolworth, and Doubleday Bookshop drew shoppers from across the region. The center, with its largely independently owned stores, were negatively impacted by the new retail traffic patterns. Towards the town's southwest fringe lies Westfarms Mall, opened in 1974 with original anchors J.C. Penney, G. Fox and Company, and Sage Allen. The mall further recalibrated retail in West Hartford. It became well known for its lavish ceilings and waterfall-style fountain, sitting astride I-84, conveniently connected to the town's main internal arteries, and comprising more than 1,300,000 sq of stores and restaurants. It is the third largest indoor mall in Connecticut. With that being said, let's now move on to zoning and segregation. In 1924, West Hartford became the first municipality in Connecticut to enact zoning, setting a precedent for other municipalities. The zoning legislation economically segregated residential areas by keeping expensive single-family homes away from multifamily housing and preventing multifamily housing in single-family neighborhoods. West Hartford justified the zoning as intended to raise property values and keep undesirable groups out of the locality. The impetus for the zoning change was the failure of West Hartford leaders to prevent a Jewish grocery from setting up a grocery store in a West Hartford residential area a few years prior. Alongside zoning, neighborhoods in West Hartford used racial covenants that prevented non-whites from owning or occupying buildings until they were ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court in 1948. In the ERS and ERS, real estate agents engaged in racial steering to keep black people out of West Hartford. These policies have contributed to making West Hartford overwhelmingly white. In recent years, attempts at building multifamily housing in West Hartford have been met with protests from residents. Let's now turn our attention to heist and examine its role within the larger context. In 1983, a robbery was committed by a militant Puerto Rican group called Los Maqueteros, where they robbed a Wells Fargo depot situated in West Hartford, netting $7 million. At the time, it was the largest heist in U.S. history. In the following section, we'll be immersing ourselves in the captivating world of Bruback Square. Opening in 2007, Bruback Square is a pioneer mixed-use development in the center that blends retail and residential living space on a large scale. The five-building complex contains 220,000 sq ft of ground-floor retail space and 120 luxury space. Medical office space encompasses square feet. A 6-screen movie theater as well as two 500-space parking garages were also built. Named after Noah Webster's popular spelling book, Bruback Speller, the development has significantly altered the center and furthered West Hartford's status as a regional dining and shopping destination. In the upcoming section, we'll be shining a light on geography. According to the United States Census Bureau, the town has a total area of 57.7 sq, of which 56.6 sq is land and 1.1 sq, or 1.91%, is water. The west side of West Hartford is flanked by the Metropolitan Ridge, a mountainous trap rock ridgeline that stretches from Long Island Sound to nearly the Vermont border. Notable features of the Metropolitan Ridge in West Hartford include Talcott Mountain and a number of highland water reservoirs belonging to the Metropolitan District, which maintains watershed and recreation resources on the property. The 51 miles Metropolitan Trail traverses the ridge. The town's website indicates that the highest point in town is 778 feet above sea level on Talcott Avon Mountain. The altitude at Town Hall is southwest of Boston and Convert northeast of New York City. Interstate 84 runs through West Hartford. Our focus now turns to demographics, an important aspect of our discussion. As of the 2010 census, there were 63,268 people, 25,000 258 households, and 16,139 families residing in the town. The population density was 2,888.9 pskmi. There were 25,332 housing units at an average density of square mile. The racial makeup of the town was 79.6% white, 6.3% African American, 0.2% Native American, 7.4% Asian, 0.03% Pacific Islander, 3.8% from other races, and 2.7% from two or more races. Hispanic or Latino of any race were 9.8% of the population. Only 49.85% of West Hartford residents reported a religious affiliation. Of these, 31.74% were Roman Catholic, 3.29% Presbyterian, 2.19% Baptist, 2.19% Methodist, 1.59% Jewish, 1.39% Lutheran, 1.31% Episcopalian, 1.19% Pentecostal, 0.4% Mormon, 3.38% of another Christian denomination, and 0.34% were Muslim. There were 25,258 households, out of which 30.5% had children under the age of 18 living with them, 50.7% were married couples living together, 10.3% had a female householder with no husband present, and 36.1% were non-families. 29.1% of all households were made up of individuals, and 13.1% had someone living alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.42 and the average family size was 3.06. In the town, the population was spread out, with 23.3% under the age of 18, 9.8% from 18 to 24, 24.2% from 25 to 44, 28.1% from 45 to 64, and 17.1% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 41.5 years. For every 100 females, there were 86.5 males. For every 100 females aged 18 and over, there were 82.2 males. In 2018, the median household income was $99,280 and the per capita income for the town was $54,601. About 3.7% of families and 6.1% of the population were below the poverty line, including 5.3% of those under the age of 18 and 9.6% ages 65 or older. Let's transition to top employers and uncover its significance. Top employers in West Hartford according to the town's 2021 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. Employer of employees 1 University of Hartford 2 Town of West Hartford 3 Hartford Healthcare at Home 4 Hospital at Hebrew Healthcare 5 Triumph Engine Control Systems 6 Connecticut Veterinary Center 7 The Cheesecake Factory 8 Constructive Workshops Inc. 9 West Hartford Health and Rehabilitation Center 10 Stock and Shop. Brace yourself for an in-depth analysis as we navigate through government and its far-reaching implications. West Hartford has had councilmanager government since 1919. It was the first town in the state and one of the first in the country to adopt this form of government, where the council acts as the elected policy board and the town manager serves as the chief executive officer responsible for carrying policies out. In 1921, voters switched to elections by the single transferable vote, using it for 2 elections, before the General Assembly overturned it in 1923. Town council members are elected at large for 2 years and represent all of West Hartford, and the town clerk is elected for 4 years. Appointed by the town council in 2022, Rick Ledwith is the town manager. Connecticut municipalities as with neighboring Massachusetts and Rhode Island provide nearly all local services, i.e. fire and rescue, education, snow removal, etc. As county government has been abolished since 1960, Get ready for an exciting exploration as we unravel the mysteries of railroad. West Hartford is a planned stop along the Hartford Line, a commuter rail service from to that uses the current Amtrak-owned New Haven-Springfield line, with a possible shuttle bus connection into Bradley International Airport. Service launched on June 16, 2018. The state of Connecticut has secured funding for the construction of a new train station at Flatbush Avenue at the corner of New Park Avenue. In 2019, Governor Lamont's transportation investment plan, which included tolling cars and trucks in 14 locations, was soundly rejected by Republicans and Democrats, leaving less funding for rail projects. Currently, there is not enough funding to build a rail station in West Hartford. As we move forward, let's uncover the untold stories and fascinating intricacies of bus. West Hartford is served by several bus routes of Connecticut Transit. Major roads served are Albany Avenue Route 58, New Britain Avenue Routes 37, 39, and 128, Park Street Routes 31 and 33, southernmost Main Street Route 153, Farmington Avenue Routes 60, 62, 64, and 66, Asylum Avenue Route 72, Hillside Avenue Route 63, and Boulevard South Quaker Lane Route 69. Now, let's shift our perspective and explore bus rapid transit from a different angle. Fast Track, Connecticut's first bus rapid transit corridor, opened in 2015, providing a separated right-of-way between Hartford and New Britain. West Hartford is served by two stations: corner of New Park Avenue and New Britain Avenue, corner of Flatbush Avenue and New Park Avenue. As we embark on the next leg of our journey, let's unpack the layers of fire department and examine its core elements. The West Hartford Fire Department operates out of 5 fire stations that provide fire protection and emergency medical services at the advanced life support level. In the next phase, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of utilities and exploring its real-world applications. Electricity, Eversource Energy, Water, Metropolitan District Commission, Natural Gas, Connecticut Natural Gas, Telephone, ADS, Fiber, Internet, IPTV, Television, Frontier Communications, Cable Television, Cable, Internet, Comcast. With the foundation laid, let's embark on a journey into public schools. The town is home to 2 public high schools, Conard, home of the Conard Red Wolves, and Hall, home of the Hall Titans, as well as 11 elementary schools and 3 middle schools in the West Hartford public schools system. The elementary schools are Aiken, Brobban, Bubby, Charter Oak, Duffy, Morley, Norfelt, Smith, Webster Hill, Whiting Lane, and Walcott. The middle schools are King Philip, Sedgwick, and the newest, Bristol Middle School, on the former site of Kingswood Oxford Middle School. The elementary schools are evenly distributed to either King Philip or Sedgwick, and those who enroll at Bristow are chosen by lottery. After middle school, students continue on to high school with their same student body. Sedgwick's graduates go to Conard High School, and King Philip's go to Hall. Bristow students return to the school district they were in during elementary school. The 2 high schools hold many events and recognize the tension between the 2 high schools. As we progress through this video, let's shift our attention towards rivalry and uncover its hidden depths. As of 2020, both of West Hartford's public high schools, Hall and Conard, were ranked in the top 15 in the state and top 5% nationally according to US News. The schools have been neck and neck in competing in educational aspects, but especially in sports. Hall versus Conard sports rivalry has gone on since the beginning of 1957, when their first football game against each other was held. The competition and school spirit is just as alive today, if not more extreme than it was over 60 years ago. On February 23, 2015, the rivalry went too far when a fight occurred between both teams at the varsity basketball game held at Hall High School. The score of the game was and teammates began fighting after a minor issue happened with the buzzer beater. As the entire hall team stormed the court to celebrate, students began throwing punches at each other, and eventually the entire team and coaches were stuck in the middle of a brawl. The fight was recorded entirely for the town to see online and identify which students were at fault, which led to 10 students being arrested. The hall cornered fan section was packed per usual, and bleachers were filled to capacity as seen in multiple video recordings. Without further ado, let's move on to the topic of private schools. St. Thomas the Apostle School, St. Timothy Middle School, Northwest Catholic High School Street, Bridget Street. Augustine Partnership School, American School for the Deaf, Kingswood, Oxford School, Renbrook School, Hebrew High School of New England, Solomon Schechter Day School of Greater Hartford, German School of Connecticut. Get ready for a thought-provoking discussion as we delve into colleges and universities and its impact on our understanding. Institutions of higher learning in the town include University of Hartford, University of St. Joseph. The University of Connecticut Greater Hartford campus was formerly located in West Hartford, adjacent to the University of St. Joseph campus. However, it was moved to downtown Hartford in 2017. In this section, we'll be peeling back the layers of military to reveal its true essence. The 76th Infantry Division was a unit of the United States Army in World War I, and the Cold War. The 76th Division was reconstituted in October 1946 and reactivated in November of that year as a part of the Organized Reserve, and was headquartered in West Hartford, Connecticut. Units of the division were spread throughout the 6 New England states. The 405th Army Hospital Unit took over the South Quaker Lane facility in 1996. With our foundation established, it's time to explore media and its relevance to our overarching theme. Print: Jewish Ledger, weekly newspaper West Hartford Life, monthly newspaper West Hartford News, weekly newspaper West Hartford Press, weekly newspaper. Radium WWHW-NPR. West Hartford Community Television WHCTV WVIT. Brace yourselves for the next chapter, where we'll be dissecting notable people. In alphabetical order by last membership: aunt, gay rights activist, philanthropist, and co-winner of the Amazing Race for Stephen Barnett, legal scholar who opposed the Newspaper Preservation Act of 1970 East. Alexander Bergstrom, conservationist Manute Ball, NBA player Ben Bova, science fact and fiction author Tim Brennan, guitar player and songwriter for Dropkick Murphys Chris Carver, singer-songwriter from Dashboard Confessional John Droney, politician and lawyer Dominic Dunn and John Gregory Dunn. Writers were born in Hartford and grew up in West Hartford. John Franklin Enders, Nobel laureate 1954 for medicine Abraham J. Feldman, Rabbi John L. Flannery, Chairman and CEO, General Electric GE Kate East. Griswold 1860-1923, editor, publisher Martin Hayes, 6-time All-Ireland fiddle champion Lemuel Haynes, clergyman, first African-American to be ordained Catherine Houghton Hepburn, social activist Grayson Hughes, singer-songwriter, songs featured in Oscar-winning films Thelma and Louise and Fried Green Tomatoes as Jed Angelo, professional golfer on the LPGA Tour Jared Jordan, drafted 45th by Los Angeles Clippers in the 2007 NBA Draft. Charlie Kaufman, Academy Award winner and screenwriter of Being John Malkovich and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind Joan R. Kemmler, state representative and the first woman to serve as Connecticut State Treasurer Edward Lorenz, mathematician and meteorologist, early pioneer of chaos theory, inventor of the strange attractor notion, made the term butterfly effect popular Frank Luntz, Republican pollster Kenny Mayne, ESPN personality Joseph Moscolo, actor and soap opera veteran Brett H. McGurk, special advisor to the United States Ambassador to Iraq Brad Melder, jazz pianist, composer and arranger Alex Myton, professional soccer player for Nottingham Forest in Nottingham, UK Edward Morley, namesake of Morley Elementary School, scientist best known for the Michelson-Morley experiment John O'Hurley, actor on Seinfeld television series and former Family Feud host Peter Page, actor Miles South. Rappaport, State Representative and Secretary of the State of Connecticut John P. Reese, Money Manager and Financial Columnist Ryan Russello, ESPN Personality Michael Scher, Creator of Parks and Recreation and The Good Place William Thompson Sedgwick, Professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and a key figure in shaping U.S. public health Scott Van Pelt, ESPN Personality Carl Wallach, Head hockey coach at Albertus Magnus College Noah Webster, lexicographer, textbook author, Bible translator, spelling reformer, writer, and editor John Woodruff, Congressman Gregory South Woodward, President of the University of Hartford Korczak Zielkowski, sculptor of Crazy Horse Memorial in South Dakota. In this part of the video, we'll be delving deeper into points of interest and analyzing its key components. Bishop's Corner, Blueback Square, Elizabeth Park, Elmwood, Fern Park, Noah Webster House, Park Road, West Hartford Center, West Hartford Reservoir, West Farms Mall, Westmoor Park. Remember to follow me on social media for behind-the-scenes content and updates.